What's up, guys, and welcome back to the infamous project. Cloudy, rainy day. However, that's not going to stop me from trying to get the camber and the toe set on the Stalkervert here. So if you guys saw the last video, you would see that got the K-member swapped out probably in record time, and we got our track width reclaimed, factory track width I should say, and also reclaimed the ability to get a little bit of camber adjustment for once. So that whole debacle is quite the story. So if you guys missed the previous episode, be sure to check that out, and you guys can see all of the previous installation videos of getting this car dialed in completely on QA1 suspension. Where does that leave us now? Well, after putting the new K-member in, the toe is off. So right, the track width has now been increased. So the way that the toe was set before, now everything's towed in a little bit. So I've got my quick trick alignment kit here. So we can see right here, right? Very simple in terms of the way that it goes on the wheels. There are little silicone protectors that you can put on there. I usually just end up using some painter's tape. And of course, elastic band, try and keep things in position and everything else. And then we got our level on the top here that kind of gives us an indication of how we are doing with our camber. But more importantly, we do have a digital readout here that is showing that right now we are sitting at 0.6 degrees of positive camber, because that arrow is actually pointing up. If it's pointing down, it means we have negative camber. So that's a result of me actually shifting and playing with that a little bit, because it was all the way down trying to get as much camber as possible, and I just kind of eyeballed things, and well, 0.6 in reality isn't too bad for eyeballing. With that said, we need to get the toe sorted out here first. So let's get the toe done. You can see here in the kit, there's actually 2 measuring tapes, and we are going to run those from the front and rear side of these bars straight across. And of course, what we're trying to achieve is the same distance at the front of the wheel as there is at the back of the wheel, and that will give us our toe that we're looking for. So let's get the measuring tapes run. I actually got to put the car up and put these toe plates underneath, so that's actually going to allow the ability for me to make my adjustments without trying to move the weight of the car on the tire, because those are a little rotating platform, so it makes adjustments easier. So we'll get the car up, toe plates down underneath the wheels or the 2x4s, and then we will run our measuring tapes and get at it. Okay, so we've got toe plates on the ground. We got 2x4 in between there. That's going to allow any adjustments on the tie rod ends to make it easier for that tire to turn. So in the front here, we can see we're 68, just over 68.25. In the rear, we're 71 and over 71.25. So we've got some adjustments to do here. So what we need to do is we need to bring the front of the wheel out. So we'll be actually releasing material or threads out of the tie rod end, and we're probably going to find a happy medium here somewhere around, because what are we off? 68, 69, 70, 71. So 68. So we're probably going to be right around 70 or 69 3/4, somewhere around there, front and rear. And you do actually get this cool guy that holds your steering wheel straight in place, and that way we can make sure that we're not moving our steering wheel. Then we end up with our steering wheel sitting off center when we're cruising straight down the road. So this tool, guys, is extremely handy. I use it on all of my Foxes because, well, no alignment shop would ever want to touch one of my Foxes because it's just a feat to get it on their alignment racks. So this tool allows me to, and you can see I'm going to be underneath the front of this bumper here, and it's gonna be a little bit of pain in the ass, but it is possible, right? If we needed to put more 2x4s or whatever underneath to get the car up a little bit, then that's possible as well. So we'll get the wrenches, break the tie rod ends loose, which shouldn't be that hard. They are the QA1 setups that are pretty easy to get wrenches on and adjust. One last thing before we get started is that I let the weight of the car down, but it's really good just to bounce the car and try and get it to settle. And you'd be surprised how quickly those numbers can change if you don't have everything settled in the right positions. Of these guys, sometimes when you're locking stuff in, it can create some problems. So you can see with the car up in the air, we're at 70 and a half, 70, just over a half. All right, and this is looking pretty straight down the side of the car, as is this. What are we? 1, 2, 3, 3/8. And here we are 69 and a half. So we are really close with the weight on the car. I feel like we're nice and straight here. Pretty nice and straight there. So we're so close, just want to make sure that nothing's caught on anything and the tape is where it needs to be. So we need to come out like a hair. I should do it. And 1, just underneath 3/8. Negative 0.5 degrees of camber, and all right, can kind of validate with the level bubble, and we got negative 0.5 degrees of negative camber here as well. So everything is looking good, with the exception now we played with the camber. I gotta do another quick toe adjustment. Just over 69 and a half. And we've got just over 69.5. So at this stage, we're at least good enough to know that we're not going to be, right, burning up unnecessary rubber. Our toe seems to be pretty good. We'll see how straight the steering wheel is. And most importantly, now we need to start dialing in some of these suspension settings that we have on the top of the struts, and then the ones that we have on the bottom side of the rear coilovers, or the shocks of the coilovers in the rear. So do some reading on that. We'll play around with some settings. When the weather is nicer, we'll do some road testing, and just gotta make sure all this stuff here is torqued down, and we still have everything pretty much at its limits in terms of camber and everything else. I've got this cranked right down. I could probably get a little bit more negative camber, maybe you know, a full degree if I really wanted to, but this is going to do for now. And right, got pretty good stance going on. So let me get this stuff tightened down, and then we'll get on to the next step. All right, guys, so it's the night before the day that I'm planning to get the Stalkervert off the lift and test driven on the new QA1 setup here for the first time. It's also going to allow me to get the yellow Dutch on the lift, because guess what? The yellow conies finally are going to be here tomorrow. So I was in the garage. I'm like, you know what? I want to test something out, because the hardware video underneath the hood of the yellow Dutch actually did pretty good. And I was like, you know what? Now I have all this additional hardware, because I pretty much bought everything that I could find on Amazon. And I found something even better. And it's linked in that yellow Dutch video's description, but I didn't actually show the box. I'm going to show you guys what I got, and I'm of course going to link it down below in this video as well, and give you guys a cheaper alternative. Here's the box. Station, right, if you will, or steady on, whatever it might be. So you open this up, made in China, of course, but isn't everything these days. So you get this nice little card of information here. Thank you for your order, blah, blah, blah. Look at this. You even get the Allen key. Look at all of these washers and hardware that you get. And this is going to be a little bit smaller in diameter. It's not going to be the, I guess, wider. But I feel like it's actually... it's close, like it's just off. So let me see here, I'm curious. So here's one of the units here, Stalkervert, very much like a stock car, and it leaves just a little bit of an outline here, but nothing too crazy at the end of the day. And because the Stalkervert, you can see the tape line here. Like, number one, it's a question of, do I care? Number two, I could probably mist a little bit of trim paint before I put the hardware down, and that would actually probably look pretty good. Bring the old Stalkervert back to life a little bit, if you will. You can see I've already got the bumper mount versions here. I'll probably throw something in here, and I'll clean these up maybe, and swap these out, and the Stalkervert will be, you know, blinged up a little bit more underneath the hood, because, like, why not, right? So definitely these guys are going to work great here. So you know what, let's just go ahead and bust off a few of those things, and let's see how many things we can swap over real quick while we're here. You can see I've got plenty left over, and for the cheap price of this Amazon kit, I did the hood latch area, brake line, cooler, put some stuff in through the radiator here because I'm not using these tie downs. These are other hardware that I had, but I did this. The 6 fender bolts, I did the bumper bolts right here because why not? And of course with the other hardware, I did the bottom side of the latch with the wider washers. So not too bad. Quick little dress up in the old Stalkervert here. So here's most of all the old hardware. We'll get all this cleaned up and out of here, and we'll be good to do the first test drive here tomorrow.